Hello everyone, this hour on Verbling, the next in my Getting Results in Business series. Well, let me get my presentation back on the screen. Sorry, 1 second everyone. There we go. There, that's what I wanted. The next in my Getting Results in Business series, we're working on our unit on dealing with change in business. In this unit, in the language at work section that we're going to be doing today, you'll be working on how to talk about future plans and changes using the right verb tense. That's going to be our goal today. That means that we're going to take vocabulary and key expressions from the past, but we're going to use them in the right verb tenses and test you on them, make sure that the rules are clear, and then give you a chance to practice. In the final case study, which will be later in this week, you will decide on and present possible changes to help a company operate more efficiently. So you're going to have to use that grammar that we've learned. If there's anyone having trouble getting in, can you all get in? Just let me know in the chat window, okay? So let's begin. First, a little bit about me. I'm John Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. Before we begin, here are 3 quick rules to help you participate. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up. That means please turn off your microphone when you're not speaking so we can keep the classroom really quiet. So if your microphone is on, turn it off right now. Okay? Okay, Sylvia? Turn it off? There you go. Thanks a lot. Rule number 2 is tune in to the new words that you're learning. Use them as actively as you can. That means deliberately use the new vocabulary that you're learning in the class so that I can correct you and give you feedback. And finally, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. And now what I'm going to do is get the presentation for you on screen. If you just give me a second here. First of all, in the chat window, you have a link to our notes. So I'm going to open the notes first. You'll see them loading right now. It'll take a second to get those open. And I'm going to share with you, before we get into the main part of the class, something that we did before, which I think is a really quick and easy way to help you practice what you're learning. So on screen right now, you can see that we're in the right document because we've got the graphic for getting results in business. Scroll down on our notes. You've got my contact if you want it there. On page 3, you've got a list of everything we've done so far. And you can see that we're now in the upper intermediate level. We're in Unit 12. We're almost at the end of the upper intermediate level. So the language in this course is getting more and more difficult. But that's because we've been doing this class for a year. So at this point, even if you haven't been in all the classes, right, you can go back, you can review some of what we did. If it's in the notes, you can ask me for help, okay? But we're getting to almost the advanced level at this point. So it's quite difficult language, but I'm going to make it as easy as I can for you. So don't worry about that. Next, you've got the table of contents, and we're on Unit 12. If you click on it, it takes you to page 6, and look what you have there. All of our material in one place. What I'm going to do is open the mind map of the class. In the mind map, you've got a very simple way to practice some of the key language. So I'm going to open that up in the background. And to begin, let me just go over what we did in the last class. So here's the summary of Class 6. on the 8th of January, our last class. What did we do? In the practically speaking part of the class, we listened to people's reactions to new ideas. We then categorized the key phrases that we learned according to whether these people agreed or not with the ideas. So we learned key phrases for agreeing, disagreeing, but the real goal, which is here in so what? So what? Why did we do it? Well, you should have a few new expressions for expressing negativity diplomatically. In other words, you should know how to be more polite when you don't like an idea, being diplomatic. Now what? Well, we didn't really do a homework, but you can still do the same homework as before. If you gave a mini presentation in the last class or the class before, you can still send it to me for corrections. We're going to have another chance to do those later. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, let's go to the map. Now, if you want to practice with this mind map, you've got to install this mini app, Mind Map. It's a free app. It's inside of Google Drive. Okay, so if you don't see it, add it. You can go to Connect More Apps and add Mind Map, M-U-P, and you'll always be able to open the mind maps that I create for the class. You can also download it and open it in another program too. You can do that as well. Okay, let me get the map on the screen for you. We're going to do a little bit of review. Give me just a second to get this on the screen. There we go. Okay, now this is not an exercise. This is a review. So if you weren't in the other classes, this language will not be obvious to you, okay? An exercise is where I teach it to you through practicing or whatever. This is not really practice. It's just there to help you recall some of the key points. So I've got key words, key phrases, and on the left, grammar points. We didn't do grammar points yet. We're going to do it today. But let's open the keywords. We've got two kinds of keywords that we learned this unit: phrasal verbs and collocations. A collocation means a verb and a preposition in this case. All right? Let's start with the phrasal verbs that we learned. Any of you who were in class last week, do you remember some of the phrasal verbs we learned? Just curious, does anyone remember anything that we did? It was quite a while ago, so it might not be obvious, but let me know if you can remember. Anyone? Going once? Going twice? Is that a no?
I can't remember.
Okay, let me help you remember. Before I open this up, we did a little activity where we were reading about 3 reactions to change: supporters, opponents, and people who are ambivalent. And in that article, or afterwards, we listened to those 3 kinds of people reacting to a specific situation. A multinational company, which was an engineering company, introduced a policy of using English only in its meetings. You had to listen to 3 employees talking about the reactions. There was a supporter, an opponent, and an ambivalent person. And you had to decide which of the groups in the article, did they belong to, and then you had to match the phrasal verbs from the ones you heard. So what I'm going to do, I'll give you a word. You try to remember the phrasal verb. Okay? So the word that we learned was, for example, to handle something. To handle. And the sentence that it was taken from, so the word is not handled, it's a phrasal verb. So you've got verbs plus out, of, on, in, into, out of, but you need a verb with it. So the verb has to mean the same as handle. Another one was to encounter, especially when it's unexpected. For example, we encountered our teacher at the supermarket. What's the phrasal verb I would say there? I wouldn't say we encountered our teacher. I would say we accidentally encountered our teacher at the supermarket. What did we do? Actually, I remember, Rebecca, this was the one you answered in that class. I remember you answering this one, so you should remember.
Handle, deal with?
Not deal with. Not deal with. To unexpectedly encounter.
Encounter.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Okay, anyone else?
Encounter.
Anyone else? If you see someone that you don't expect to see, particularly if it's like out on the street somewhere, you can say, oh, what?
Come across?
I haven't seen you for ages.
Yeah. But what's the phrasal verb? What's the phrasal verb? Phrasal verbs are like get in, get up, get out, all those in, out, of, on words.
Yeah. And what about come across? It's not for that.
It's not for people, come across. It's for things.
Yes, you're right. You told me that.
Yeah.
Was run into.
Excellent. That's right.
Yeah.
So we ran into our teacher at the supermarket. We ran into our teacher. That's the idea. Anyway, as I said, this is not an exercise. It's really just meant to be a memory, a kind of memory review. In other words, just to help you not memorize. I don't want you to memorize, but just to be more familiar. So look at this. Let's open this up. If I open this up and get it on screen, you can see the phrasal verbs, and run into is down here. Okay, so that's right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you a normal verb, and all of you shout out the phrasal verb. Okay, so if I say encounter, you're going to say run into,
Yeah.
right? If I say, let's see, if I say to handle, you would say?
But I think it's deal with. It's not deal with.
It is deal with.
Yeah. Okay. Because you just said no, it's no deal with.
No, I didn't.
Okay, I understood.
I said encounter is not deal with.
Oh yes, but you know I was meant handle.
Ah, okay. No, handle is deal with. That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay, encounter, run into, handle, deal with.
Okay.
What about to leave?
To leave is bring in. No.
Bring no.
No.
Work out.
Say again?
Yeah.
Work out.
There's
No.
a better.
Drop it out.
Drop out.
Dropped.
There's no it. Drop out of.
Drop out.
That's right. Drop out of something, like drop out of a course. Drop out of. So we need two prepositions. But that's correct. Drop out of is right. Sylvia, by the way, you weren't here, so these are not obvious. Okay? So I don't expect you to get them right because you weren't in class.
Okay.
All right? So don't worry about that. You can see the material in just a minute, and you can see what you need to, you can do the material on your own as well, and you'll get this vocabulary. Even if you weren't in class, you can try it on your own. The next word is to leave. We did that. To accept. To accept. So Daniel, Adi, and Rebecca, this should be more or less familiar to you. To accept something.
Accepts. Take on? No.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right, because we had Let me see if I can remember the sentence. Oh, what was it?
I can't remember right now.
We can, yeah, take on more work was the sentence. We can take on more work. We can accept more work. Good, that's it.
Accept, okay.
That is it, I agree. Okay, the next one is to have a successful result. To have a successful result.
I know this is working out.
To work out, right.
Work.
And the sentence was, it's working out very well.
Yeah.
Very good, that's it. Next is to arrange something. To arrange.
Arrange could be bring in.
It could. They brought the policy in. That means they arranged a new policy for the company. Remember, arrange doesn't always mean bring in. But in this context, the one that we did last week, that's what it means.
Okay.
So this is very specific to what we did. Okay, to practice.
Yeah. Try out.
Try out your language skills. Practice your language skills. To, oh, you know what? Maybe I made a mistake here, because the next one is to introduce.
Introduce is bring in, and arrange, so...
Yeah, introduce is bring in. Yeah, you're right.
No,
You're right.
because I'm checking my notes.
We have
Put on
put
is the
on.
one we
Yeah,
have learned.
yeah, you're right. You're right. Because it's put on a lot of courses. Yep, you're right.
Okay.
You see, even I get them wrong. Because in America, in American English, we don't say put on courses. That's British English. That's why. It's okay. We can say it, but we use a different word. But it's okay. It makes sense. Anyway, as I said, this is not an exercise for you to learn. This is a memory exercise for you to practice in a very quick way, to review in a very quick way some of the key vocabulary from last week. Okay, so at any point, just go back to the notes, click on the map, open it. You might have to accept the Mind Map application, or you might have to download it and open it in another software like FreeMind or one of those mind mapping softwares. Anyone, it should work for most of them. And then you can quickly jog your memory for these phrasal verbs. You'd look at this list and say, first you'd say, what were the phrasal verbs I learned? If you can't remember, you'd open them up and you'd try to remember the sentences from the unit, or even better, create your own sentences, write them down, and compare them to what we did. These sentences were all from presentation 2, so I'll put that on screen and you can see the actual exercise we took this from. Just a second, it'll load up. Give me a second. Where was it? Oh, maybe it was presentation 1. That's what it was. Sorry. Wrong presentation. There we go. So let me just move forward. Working with words. There's our text. Here we go. So this is where we got our phrasal verbs from, which is on slide 11. So you can go back there and check your sentences that you create on this list against these. And if you were confused about anything, you just send me a note in the message system in Verbling, and I can help you out if you have a question. So if you need you can reach me, the simplest way to do it is click on the message system here for those of you who are new. And look, we've got a message from Adi already. Look at that. So we go up there and send a message, and then I'll answer your question if it's not clear. Okay?
Excuse me, John, I have a question about the phrasal verb drop out of. Drop is always in past, or can we use it in present?
You can use it Anywhere, of course. I'm
Okay.
going to drop out of the course. It's the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, look at this. Phrasal verb and preposition. What I did here was give you the preposition. I'm sorry, not phrasal verb. I'm sorry. Verb and preposition. I gave you the preposition, and you had to recall the key word. Okay? Now, this is verb and preposition. I'm not sure if they're actually all verbs and prepositions. Let me double check. It's no, I should say no. I made a mistake. It's not verb. It's adjective. Sorry, adjective and preposition. Okay. So this was the activity that we did. After we did that listening, we had to go back and find all of the adjectives, and here's the list. So what I want you to do is tell me which ones you remember go with about. Okay? So we're going to start with about. Look at that list. Give me one or two that go with about.
Anxious about?
Anxious about? I'm sure you're right. I'm going to open it in a second. Let's hear one more. Daniel, you were here. Adi, you were here. What else can we use with about? Anxious about?
Worried about? No?
Worried about? Great. Daniel, did you say one? I thought I heard you, but then
I'm here, but I'm a little bit lost.
Okay. So this is from several classes ago. It's not from the last Thursday, but it's a little bit earlier. This is the first presentation we did, and after we were listening to this multinational meeting about some supporters, some opponents, and some ambivalent people about the new policy. This was like last, I don't know, Tuesday or something like that, Monday or Tuesday. We had the transcript here where you can, if you can't hear it, you can read it. And based on how they felt about the new change, we had some good phrasal verbs and some good adjectives. Okay? So let's open about and see the full answer. If I open it up, look what we got. Adi was right. We got worried. Rebecca was right because we have anxious. But look at all these words. We can be concerned about, worried about, nervous about something, ambivalent about something, anxious about something, enthusiastic, positive, apprehensive, and optimistic. Okay? All of those were keywords with about. The rest of them had less words. Take a look at the list. Let's try one more. Look at those words and tell me which of those can connect with of. Can we be anxious of something? No, doesn't sound good. So what goes with of?
Okay, I think one is in favor of.
Perfect. In favor of is one of them. That's right. Any others you remember?
Keen
Against
off.
of.
Daniel, was that you? Sorry.
Keen off.
Almost. You can't be keen of.
Keen on.
Keen on is right.
Yeah.
So keen on. And that's the only on word we have. There's only one. It's keen on.
Against off.
Against of. Nope. Try
No?
again.
Okay.
Against of doesn't work. Any others? No? Okay. Let's take a look. In favor of, critical of, resentful of.
Resentful.
These are three. So you'll never forget them because you go back to the map, click on collocation, click on of, and you get your answers. Try to test your memory first. Look it up and say, which of those words in presentation 1 did we learn? On, Daniel already gave us the answer. Keen on. 2. Before I tell you the answer, want to guess?
Against two?
Against two does not work.
Okay.
Critical to.
Critical to is a very good guess, but it doesn't work.
Committed to?
Committed to is correct.
Yeah.
There's 6 words total, and Adi gave us 1, so there's 5 more. Any other guesses?
Apprehensive.
Yes? No?
I have a question. What is the meaning of apprehensive?
Apprehensive.
Apprehensive.
Does apprehensive, does that sound like a positive feeling or a negative feeling?
The feeling, I guess.
You're right. It's a negative feeling. If I'm apprehensive, that means I'm not sure if I want to do it. I might not, but I haven't made up my mind. Yeah.
Apprehensive too?
Apprehensive too is, where is apprehensive actually? Oh, there it is. I see it. Okay. Yeah, I see it. Okay. Apprehensive to the idea. To be honest with you, I could hear native speakers saying this. It's not actually correct, but I could hear people saying it. We tend to say apprehensive about something.
Oh, okay.
But to be honest with you, I would be surprised if I heard native speakers say I'm apprehensive to the idea. It's not. It doesn't really sound bad, but it's not really the right answer. Okay, let's take a quick look. 2. Antagonistic to, receptive to, resistant to, committed to, ambivalent to. Weird, but true. Ambivalent to an idea. Normally we think of ambivalent about. So I don't know about that last one, but that's what my material tells me, so I guess it's true. Towards is easy, because towards and to are almost the same. So ambivalent towards, antagonistic towards, hostile towards. Those are correct. There's no doubt about that. Those are very common collocations. Is there one of these words which cannot be used with the preposition, Daniel? The one that you already said. Is there one that cannot be used with the preposition, Daniel? Since you already gave it.
Against.
Against is right. Against takes no preposition because it almost is a preposition. It basically, it's not really, but it's very similar to one. It's an adverb. Okay, so that's it. Though that was all the vocabulary, the key vocabulary. Okay, and the key phrases that we learned. I'm not going to test your memory here. I'm not going to test your memory. I'm just going to show you these. Okay, because we'll be using them later. Explaining planned events. We had phrases like, over the next few weeks. We plan to keep you informed by or through. Starting next week will be. Okay, so you can go through the key expressions on your own because we've worked with them a lot last week. Okay, so again, look at the function, like call to action, giving more details. See how many of those key expressions you can remember. Click on the event, press the F key to open, and you'll get your answers. F key again to close. Okay, and then you can fold it up. And that's it. So I just wanted to show you that. That's a quick way to test your memory in the future. Okay? Let's get started with today's lesson. It's going to be today and tomorrow. We're going to work on this probably. So let's go back here. We did the practically speaking part last Thursday where we learned to be diplomatic about changes we don't like. What I want to do is move forward and look at the grammar of being diplomatic. We're going to use the future continuous and the future perfect to talk about plans and changes. Okay, I think, let me just see if we've listened to this before. Oh, where is 48? Uh-oh, why don't I have my audio? Uh-oh, give me just a second here, because for some reason I don't have the audio, but I should have it. Give me 1 second here. I just have to see if we've listened to this before, because I don't know which is 48, but I think we have. Give me just a second to double check. But I'm pretty sure this is one we listened to in the last class. One moment, please. Yeah, yes, this is one we listened to. Okay. Okay, so in this this is one we listened to last week. We had two people in a meeting, Rachel and Imram, and they were talking about changes that would be coming up. The changes were about, if this was like in the first class, FGR Textiles in Northern England is going to have cutbacks, and Rachel and Imram were the department leaders, and they have to inform the other departments of the company about what their consultants told them to do to cut costs. They had to present the consultants' proposed changes to the other heads of the departments, and they had to talk about basically their future plans. We'll leave it at that. Okay. So what I want you to do is quickly, very quickly, you're going to listen to that presentation. You're going to try to match the extracts to, I think we're not going to listen to the whole thing. We're going to listen just to the first part. You're going to, from the context, you're going to match it to the kind of future that's being described. Okay, just to give you, just to remind you, Rachel began the presentation like this. Okay, I've spoken about our consultant's findings, and we're well aware of your concerns regarding how the changes will affect our staff. As you all know, it is very likely there will be some job losses, but we'd like to assure you that we will keep these to an absolute minimum and try to reduce headcount through natural wastage. Decisions will definitely have been made by March as to how big the cutbacks will be. All right? Look at that very first one in A. That is one that you just heard, actually. So, Rebecca, I want you to read A one more time and tell me if you can match it with the rule underneath.
Okay. Decisions will definitely have been made by March. Okay, I think it's 3, an action that will be finished by a particular time in the future.
An action that will be finished by a particular time in the future is absolutely right.
Okay.
And there's two ways to know that. The first is because you have by,
Yeah.
right? By March, by a
March.
particular time.
Yeah.
And the second way is because you can analyze the verb tense. Will have been made.
Okay,
So let's identify what verb tense that is. Is it the future?
Will, yeah, future.
Is it simple or perfect?
It's perfect.
Because?
Have been, is present.
Have been.
Has been perfect, perfect continuous.
Continuous? No.
No, continuous. Present perfect.
Period. Present perfect.
Yes. Okay, stop.
Right.
Full stop.
Right. When you have will and the present perfect together, it's the future perfect.
Future perfect, but yeah. And
Okay.
what about being?
Been
It's
is
continuous.
no, it's not
It's
being.
passive. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
passive, right? It's passive,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
It was made by me is the
Yeah.
passive voice. I made
Yeah.
it is active.
Mhm.
So I agree. It's the future perfect passive.
Oh.
In other words, it is the past of the future. The past of the future. March is the future. The decision will be made when? When do you think the decision will be made? If March is the future, would it be in January or would it be in June?
By March. So this is past future when we want to say something in the future, but okay, it's
But
with a passive voice.
yeah, but no. Forget about passive for a second. Let's just worry
Okay.
about the time. Rebecca,
Yeah.
will the decision be made by January or will it be made in January or will it be made in June?
In June.
No.
No?
Is March before or after June?
March is after no, it's before June.
Yes, it's before June. So
No?
it's got to be made in, for example, January. Because January is before March,
Yeah.
right? In other words, January is the past of March. And the decision will be made in the past of a particular time.
Uh-huh.
So let's put this into everyday life. Let's put this into everyday mundane reality.
Okay.
Rebecca, what's a plan you have for the future?
This
This week, next week, what's a plan you have coming up?
with this structure.
No, don't worry about that. Just make it simple. Tell me a
Okay.
plan you have this week.
Okay, I'm going to Morocco in February.
Excellent. Okay.
So,
What will you do in March?
I'm going to Spain.
You're going to Spain.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Will you have returned to Spain by March?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So there is your future perfect. I will have what? Say that sentence back to me. I will have?
I will have been
Yeah?
coming
To?
back.
Well, no, I will have been to. If you say been, it's got to be been to something. I will have been to
Been
to Morocco
okay, to Morocco
by
by March.
yeah, by March. So before March, you were in Morocco. Exactly.
I
I'll
will have been
to
to okay. Okay. Yeah, I get it, yeah. Because
yeah,
here it have been made.
exactly.
Yeah.
Sylvia, what's a plan you have coming up in the next week or two?
I will be on holidays.
You won't be on holidays. When?
Yeah. The next week.
Next week. Where are you going to go?
Sorry?
Where are you going to go?
Well, I will be traveling to Seville. Sevilla.
Okay. And where you're now in Madrid, right?
Yeah. Now
okay.
I'm in Madrid. Yeah.
Okay. And what will you do in 2 weeks from now?
In 2 weeks, I will be coming back to the work.
Okay. So when will you have returned to Madrid?
Okay. I returned.
Nope. I'll.
No. Sorry.
I'll.
Okay.
I'll.
Sorry?
I'll.
I will.
Yes, but we say it like this. I'll.
I'll.
Right. It's a contraction. I
Okay.
will becomes
Okay.
I apostrophe LL.
Okay. I'll.
So
I'll.
when will you have returned to Madrid? I'll
I'll
have
Sorry. I'll have been returned by.
I'll have returned
I'll have returned
by.
by. By.
Give me a date.
Or in 2 weeks? No.
I
Or
will have returned in 2 weeks. That's
yeah.
fine.
Okay.
I'll have returned in 2 weeks.
Yes. I'll have returned in 2 weeks.
Perfect. Or I'll have returned by the end of January.
Okay.
You can use by as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Adi, when will you have mastered English? Adi, when will you have mastered English? Maybe you've already mastered English.
I will have mastered English in January 2016.
Really? Why so long? Why
Because I need to
1
be,
year?
I want to be fluency. I mean, I have to be fluency before January 2016.
Because?
So, because I want to go abroad.
Ah,
I'm going
okay. That makes sense. So you'll have mastered it by January of next year because you have to. Okay, I got it. I got it. And Daniel, when will you have become rich? When will you have become rich?
When it when it will rain frogs.
Oh, I thought you were going to say when it will rain money. Because frogs, I don't know what you can do with frogs. I mean, you could sell them, I guess. You could cook them.
Because it's impossible.
Oh, I got it. Okay, I got it.
I
So-
don't I don't play lottery. I don't.
Well,
I don't-
you'll never get rich playing the lottery, so I think that's a very good idea. I know so many people that have played the lottery for decades. Decades! And maybe won a little bit of money once. I don't know.
I prefer have a beer at the bar.
Can you get rich having a beer?
No, but I'd rather have a beer than play.
I'd rather be poor and just drink. I agree. If you can't be rich, just drink. It's all right.
Yes.
Daniel, let's try B.
Over the next few weeks, we'll be hosting departmental meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
So B matches with?
an activity that will be in progress at a particular time in the future.
An activity that will be in progress at a particular time in the future. I think you're right. I have to read it again. Over the next few weeks, yeah, we'll be hosting an activity that will be in progress. Yep, you're right. Okay, what's the verb tense?
Future progress.
Future progressive.
Progressive.
That's right.
Progressive.
We can also call it the future continuous. Both of them are okay. And that will be hosting. Yeah, hosting meetings. I wanted to put a timeline on the board to show you this, but I don't know how to do it in an easy way, unfortunately. So I don't think I can. Maybe after class I can add it here. But what I wanted to show you a little timeline with an arrow so you can actually see what these look like. Anyway, you're correct so far, so we'll continue. Who's next? Adi, you were here, so why don't you take C, the last one?
I'll be visiting our suppliers in Bradford on that. It's gonna be an activity that is part of future program.
Okay, that's right. And what's the verb tense?
Future continuous.
Future continuous also. All right. Now, Adi, here's an extra question for you. What's the difference between 2 and 3? They're both the future continuous, but they don't mean exactly the same thing. Are you able to distinguish the difference?
Let me try. Will be hosting departmental meeting. I'll be visiting our supplier on. Will be hosting. Will be. I think that is. I don't know actually.
Okay. Okay. Which one do we know when it's going to happen? Do we know pretty much precisely when it's going to happen?
Will be hosting departmental meetings.
We'll be hosting at a particular time. We'll be hosting departmental meetings. Okay. But what about I'll be visiting our suppliers in Bradford on that day?
On that day. Oh yeah.
That's particular, isn't it?
Yes, it is very. Yeah, it's particular. On
Right.
This.
And what about hosting departmental meetings? Is that on a particular time, or is it general?
No, it's in general in a few weeks. The next
Exactly.
few weeks in general.
So, what I wanted to say here is we'll be visiting is like a period of time in the future that has a clear beginning and maybe even a clear ending. We don't know. We just know it happens on that day. So maybe it begins and ends on that day, but it's a period of time. We're not looking at one moment. We're looking at that 24-hour period. So that's one way to use the future continuous, a period of time that's defined. Another way is to use it just like the future simple. Over the next few weeks, we'll host departmental meetings. Is the same as we'll be hosting. If you use it in that general future way, you could use either the future simple or the future continuous. They'd both be okay. Future continuous sounds a little bit better, but it's not wrong to say we'll host. But letter C could not be the future simple. I will visit our. Well, let's see. I will visit our suppliers on that day. I guess you could, but it doesn't stress that it's a period, and so it's really important that we use the future continuous for C. So the real answer is that B could probably be both. C, it could be both, but it doesn't have the right meaning if you use the future simple. It sounds much clearer to use the future continuous. That's the general idea. Both forms use will. Let's see if we can practice these a little bit. Look at the picture and answer questions 1 to 2. Use the prompts or your own ideas. Look at that picture. Sylvia, what do you see in that picture? What is that thing?
I don't know the word for this machine.
Where would you find this machine? Sylvia?
Yeah.
Where would you find this machine?
Where?
Yeah.
In the country. I'm not sure.
Out in the country somewhere? Okay. Or maybe even in a city.
Yeah,
what
too.
Does it do? What does it do? In your own words, of course.
Okay.
Maybe
it's an excavator, or something like that.
What does it do? What do we use it for?
It's used to build, and I can't describe it. It's very difficult. I don't know exactly.
Used to build what?
Sorry?
Used to build what? For example, used to build
houses.
Good.
Yeah.
So this thing is some kind of a not excavator but digger
Digger.
Because esquivar, whatever the word is in Spanish, that means to dig in English. To dig. D-I-G.
Cavar.
Cavar?
Dig, yeah, dig es cavar.
Okay, so dig. D-I-G. So it's some kind of digging machine. I don't even know the name of it. Who cares? What's important is, look at that little prompt, number 1, Sylvia. What I want you to do is to create a sentence based on that question. Read the question for us in number 1, please.
Okay. What will be happening over the next 6 months?
Okay. Now imagine you work at the construction company. I want you to create an answer based on those word pairs that you see. Clear / ground, cut down / trees, take on / temporary workers, damage / environment.
I suppose it will be clearing the ground.
Over the
Over the next 6 months.
good. Okay. So let's imagine for a second that we're standing at this building site, Sylvia, you and me, and I say, hey, what are they doing? They can't do that. And you'd say, oh, they'll be clearing the ground over the next 6 months. And I say, oh, now I understand. Oh, I don't want them to do that. The aim here is for you to produce sentences using the future continuous and the future perfect. Okay?
Okay.
So, Rebecca, let's read 2 and see how you would answer that.
Okay, 2 is cut down trees. Okay.
No, question 2.
Oh, 2. Oh, yes, sorry. What will have happened by this time next year?
Yeah, based on what Sylvia said, they'll be clearing the ground over the next 6 months. Based
Yeah.
on that, what will have happened by this time next year? Use one of the prompts to help you. Complete project, build supermarket, create local jobs, blah, 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 blah.
Okay. Build. They'll
Yeah?
they'll have
Good.
build
Good?
a new supermarket by this time next year.
Ah, they'll have built a new supermarket. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I want you now, let's go back to Sylvia for a second. Sylvia, I want you to ask a question to Adi. It could be similar to question 1, or it could be similar to question 2. In other words, it could be future continuous, or it could be future perfect. Okay? You create the question. Adi will use the prompts that he sees to give an answer. Or you can use any prompts. You don't have to use those. You can use your own imagination too. Okay, Sylvia, I want you to create a question in the future continuous or future perfect for Adi.
In the future continuous.
Go for it.
Okay, what will be happening over the next 6 months?
You mean for in his life?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good.
I will damaging the environment.
Repeat? I couldn't hear you.
I will damaging the environment.
You're cutting off. Your microphone's cutting you. I will be
damaging environment by the next 6 months.
You will be damaging the environment, Adi. Why? Oh my God.
Because I always construction. So because I always construct something.
That's true. This picture that's you driving that little
Yes.
digger. That's you inside the cat.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
very good.
I'm the leader of them. I'm the leader.
You're the head of the destruction team.
Yes.
I got it. Rebecca, I want you to ask a question to Daniel.
Okay. I have to choose one of these both.
You can choose. It doesn't matter. Just present. Oh, sorry. Future perfect or future continuous.
Okay. Answer me with the future progress.
ask him in the future progressive, and that way he'll have to answer you that way. Okay?
Okay.
Form the question in the right tense, and he'll be forced to answer you in that way. So Sylvia said, "Hey, Adi, what will you be doing over the next 6 months?" And he said, "I'll be damaging the environment." I want you to ask a question to Daniel in the progressive or the perfect future.
Related to the picture.
Or about life. It's up to you. I just want you to practice the tense.
Okay. Where will? Okay. Let me think.
Will you?
Where will you be doing by this time next year?
Where or what?
What? Sorry. Yes.
One more time.
Yes. Okay. What will you be doing by this time next year?
Good question.
I hope I will have found a new job.
You hope you'll have found a new job. Okay.
So you'll
And Daniel,
working.
yeah, you'll be working by this time next year, right?
Okay.
Yes.
What will you be doing over the next 12 months to make sure that happens?
I will be taking care of my children.
That's not going to help you get a job, though. Will it?
But I don't earn money.
That's true. That's true. You need to change your strategy, Daniel.
Yeah.
You have to let... Where's the wife? Let her do it. You go out there. Stop drinking so much beer.
I wish.
Let's see. What will you be doing, Sylvia? What will you be doing on your vacation? Sylvia!
Yeah. I'm here. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Could
What
you
will you
repeat again,
What
please?
will you be doing on your vacation next week?
Okay, I will be visiting my sister and my nieces. Nieces? Okay.
And what do they do in Seville? Now listen to the tense here. I'm not using the future perfect now. What do they do in Seville?
Could you repeat again, please?
What do they do in Seville?
What do they do?
Right.
Okay, yeah, they live there.
They live there. Okay.
Yeah. My sister lives in Seville from many years ago.
For a long time.
For a long time, yeah.
Okay, very good. Very good. And Adi, where will you have gone abroad to in 2016? Where do you think you'll have gone abroad to?
I will visiting.
Listen carefully. Where will you have gone? It's future perfect. So you got to talk about the past of something in the future. Where will you have gone abroad to? That means out of the country. Where will you have gone abroad to in 2016? Where do you think you'll have gone?
I will have visited Singapore.
Okay.
And Malaysia.
And what will you be doing in Malaysia?
I will be having a meeting with my clients.
You'll be having a meeting with your clients in Malaysia, really? How come they don't come to Indonesia? Why do you have to go to them?
Because they invited me to visit them.
Ah, okay, that's nice of them. Do they pay for the flight?
They pay for everything until I reach India.
Until you reach India or Indonesia?
India. I mean, my clients is in Singapore and Malaysia, but they have a project in India.
Oh, okay, I see. I see. So they're gonna fly you to India,
hmm
but
Yeah, they're
first,
gonna fly me. But
okay,
first go to Singapore first. Yes, that's right.
that's interesting. And what will you be doing in India?
Um, I will be having site visit, and then site visit and constructing. I don't know how to put it in English.
Well, try. You
Okay,
try, and
I
I'll
will
correct you.
be okay. I will be s- I will be I will be having site visit right there and make some survey.
Ah, so you
Having
will
some
you will be surveying.
Yeah, I will be surveying the
Well,
location.
wait a second. Daniel's a surveyor. Daniel, aren't you a surveyor?
It's my field.
Did,
I'm surveying.
oh my God, Adi, just hire Daniel.
Are you stealing my job?
No, no.
You've,
Sometimes architects do site visit, but civil engineering and kind of that are still have their own job.
oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Daniel, you've just got to move to India and you'll be
Yeah,
set.
yeah. I
Just go to
need to.
India.
I have to learn Indian.
Yeah.
Hindi.
If you
Very
learn
hard.
First of all, English.
if you
Then
learn
I will see.
Indian, you're not going to speak to anyone. Nobody speaks Indian in India, unfortunately. I wish they did.
They speak
But
Hindi.
if you speak English, you'll be able to speak with everyone. They all speak
Yeah.
English,
Yeah. I
whether
need
at least some words. Well, there you go. So look,
Excuse me, John. Can I make a quick question?
yes, you
Is
can make a slow question if you like.
yeah, because yesterday I had to use it and I'm not sure about it. By this time next year is future, but could I use by this time last year for the past? By?
No, no,
Oh
because
no,
by is only for the future, so you'd have to
it's not
say
for the future. I said
at,
but.
yeah, but at this time last year.
At this time last year, that is the expression. Okay, thank you.
At this time last year, I was in Italy.
Oh,
At this time,
at this time last year, the weather was really bad.
yeah, let me just think. Can I use by in the past? Let me think for a second. By this time last year, if you want to say by in the past, you could actually. By this time last year, the hurricane had already hit the Philippines.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk about the past
Yeah.
in relation to another time, you could use by. You could. So
Okay.
so it's always got to be with two times in mind. If that makes sense. So what happened after something in the past? That's what you have to think about. What happened afterwards? By this time last year, I had already returned to Portugal. I was in Italy, but I returned. So by that time I'd already returned. So that's two actions in the past. So I think that's the trick. And earlier I said at because I was only looking at one action. But now that I think about it, you could do that in the past or the future. So the answer is yes, you could. You just have to.
Yeah. There's some moments where we can use it. Okay.
Yeah. If you're using two actions, one before the other, you can use in the past or the future. If it's one action at a particular moment, it's only at. I think that's it.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, listen, we have to stop here because we're at the end of the hour. we're going to do a little more practice with this tomorrow. I've also got a reading class to give you some extra special vocabulary. And then in the last 2 classes this week, we're going to finish up the unit by doing a case study where you get to put all of these skills together. Don't forget to go to your mind map, practice the key words. And Sylvia, since you weren't here, don't forget, you can go to presentations 1 and 2, which are on page 6 of our notes, and you can familiarize yourself with some of the material. If you want to look at what you missed, and if you have questions, send me the questions in the chat window, in the message system. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Bye for now, everyone. See you
Bye-bye.
tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good day. Bye-bye.